When sports gambling was legalized, I said my only really concern of it is now the constant belief by degenerates who have to validate their betting losses is, the games are rigged. Folks, if baseball was rigged, the Yankees would end up in every World Series. If the NBA was rigged, the Knicks and Lakers wouldn't be a mess for now a decade straight. And if football was rigged, the Dallas Cowboys would not be as inept as they are as a playoff team. The Cowboys 49ers NFC divisional round game got 46 million viewers. The NBA conference championships get closer to 7. And that's with like the Warriors and the Celtics, Steph Curry, and the Boston brand. Over 7 times more. The Cowboys don't win playoff games because the Niners have a better roster. And the reason the Niners have the better roster is because they pay the right players. They have a better left tackle. They have deeper wide receivers. They have better linebackers. They have 2 legitimate corners. They're better at safety. The Cowboys tend to pay too much, pay too early, and pay the wrong people. They paid linebacker Jalen Smith. A year later, they had to get rid of him. They overpaid for a running back, Zeke. They paid Dak more than he's worth. If you start looking at the Cowboys' biggest salaries, running back, linebacker, that's not what the best teams do. Dallas has some individual star players, but they don't have a single great unit. The Niners have several. The Eagles have several. The Chiefs have a couple. The Bengals have a few. The Dallas Cowboys are out because they have often paid the wrong positions and players more than they're worth. And next year it's worse. Dalton Schultz, free agent. Zeke, Dak, massive cap hits. Zeke next year will be the number 2 running back cap hit in the league. He is not a top 10 running back. Dak will be the number 2 quarterback cap hit. He's not a top 10 quarterback. Come on, he's not. So the games aren't rigged, and the Cowboys are where they are for a reason. Coach of the year, to me, is obvious, Brian Daboll, New York Giants. But when I hear other people like Kyle Shanahan and Nick Sirianni getting suggested, I'm not bothered by it. But to me, coach of the year is overcoming. And that's what separates a great quarterback from just a guy, the ability to overcome. I've said this now for, several years, and you've heard it before. Every quarterback is good with a run game and protection and a lead. The great ones, Burrow, Mahomes, are great trailing. They're great without a run game. They overcome. Well, that's Brian Daboll. So think about this. Kyle Shanahan has the best roster in football. Yes, he's on his 3rd quarterback, but Garoppolo succeeded with this roster. Brock Purdy is succeeding with this roster. This is a great roster. Nick Sirianni has done a great job, but this is a great roster. In both instances, Kyle Shanahan and Nick Sirianni, the general manager, deserves a great deal of the credit. Brian Daboll is winning with a quarterback who ended up at Duke. That's an academic and basketball powerhouse. Jalen Hurts was recruited by Nick Saban in Alabama and then went to Oklahoma and Lincoln Riley. He's an elite athlete. Daniel Jones went to an academic power, certainly talented. Brian Daboll got him to the playoffs in a pretty good division with a rebuilding roster and a quarterback who, if he was on the open market today, would arguably fetch no offers. Jalen Hurts would get offers. Jalen Hurts would get several offers. A mobile 2023 quarterback who was in the Heisman race, who puts up big rushing and passing numbers and doesn't turn it over much, Jalen Hurts would fetch a half dozen offers, minimum. Daniel Jones, I'm not sure, would fetch a single offer on the market because everybody understands the value of what Daboll did for Josh Allen in Buffalo and Daniel Jones in New York. To me, the Coach of the Year award is a slam dunk, Brian Daboll, doing more with significantly less of a roster and a quarterback talent. Dove Kleiman reporting that the Packers are willing to explore a trade of Aaron Rodgers to an AFC team. They don't want to face him in the NFC, although they could with scheduling. I get it. It'd be humiliating to face him in a playoff game. This way, if you do face him, it's probably in a Super Bowl. I think it's really smart by Green Bay to consider this for a lot of reasons. Number one, Aaron would not get to a Super Bowl in the AFC. It's too crowded, too many good teams. Number two, this roster is capable in the NFC North of winning without Aaron if Jordan Love's a B to a B-minus quarterback. Consider the additions needed for Green Bay. So it's a pretty good roster. They could use an edge rusher, a receiver, and a tight end, and maybe an offensive tackle at some point, though they addressed the offensive line in last draft. If you get an additional 1 and a 2 for Aaron Rodgers, you can literally, and Green Bay has a history of drafting pretty well and developing exceptionally well. Green Bay, in the first 2 rounds, can essentially wrap up their needs in the draft. Yes, Aaron's a dead cap hit, but Jordan Love doesn't cost anything. So it's a wash. I just think it's time. I think when people ask for concessions in any job, if they're an elite performer, I think companies will adjust. Aaron now is not giving you the offseason commitment. He's not getting you playoff W's. He's now really expensive and not terribly flexible in terms of his willingness to work with a new offense, new schemes, new players. I just think it's time. I don't even think it's a big risk. Remember, when they moved off Favre for Aaron Rodgers, Favre was arguably the most beloved player in the NFL, along with maybe Peyton Manning. Aaron's not. There are a lot of people in Green Bay that are over Aaron Rodgers. I think a lot of people feel like he's held them a little bit hostage the last couple of years. Now, Jordan Love's not as good as Aaron Rodgers, but don't forget, Aaron's first year, he won 6 games as a starter. So it was bumpy. And also, Favre, within a year, was winning a lot of games for Minnesota. If you ship Aaron to the AFC, there's not a lot of open divisions now that Jacksonville is a real team. Not a lot of wide open divisions. Where would Aaron go in the AFC if you're fearful of facing him again? He wouldn't be favored in the division with Belichick and Josh Allen, Mahomes' division. He wouldn't be, to me, favored in the Joe Burrow division. And I don't think he'd be favored, honestly, against Jacksonville. Jacksonville's got to shore up that offensive line. They've got more weapons. They've got a highly capable offensive coach in a league that's pivoted in that direction. So I think moving Aaron to the AFC, and what do you need? Give me a first this year, a second next year, a third the following year. I'm good. Aaron's 38, about to be 39. He's not playing forever. That's the other thing. If it takes Aaron a year to kind of get up to speed with Vrabel's offense or Robert Saleh's offense, Titans, Jets, respectively, Aaron's only got about 3 years left. So it makes a ton of sense to me. I don't think it's a scary proposition. The Vikings are not going 11-0 next year in one-score games. The Bears are a wreck offensively. Don't even know if they have the right coach. And the Lions haven't won the division since 1993. Now's the time. It's really the perfect time. You can still get several top picks for Aaron Rodgers. And this roster in Green Bay should have made the playoffs anyway if Aaron would have committed to the offseason and the rookie receivers.